Morning, everyone. Welcome to the finance module. So today's session is a consolidated module that will combine some of the basic information and also the case examples. We already have two sessions in the past week. So today is a third one and kind of using some kind of lesson learned from the previous one. So the slides already kind of update and finalize in the places. So before we talk about the exercise, so there are a couple of things leading up to there. So first is that where can you get the files and where can you get the exercise? So the training files and exercise that you can download, and I also put it into your email that you can download the PDF just in case that you feel like you cannot follow. And so you can find the file in the demo site, in the VCN demo site, and I already activate all of your accounts. So, but if you don't have to accept the authorization of the demo account, if you already have one, if you already have the demo account, or if you feel like you want to use a live edge to do the exercise. So that's just optional, just in case someone that I want to have a sandbox to play around it. So in order for you to be more accessible to the exercise and also the PowerPoint. So the two places, one is that in demo session, if you go to the home and go to the documents, then you'll be able to check the module 11 finance and then to download today's exercise and also the module from 11.1 to 11.4. And today's session is 11.5 as the consolidated one. So it's a consolidated I am topics from the 11.1 to 11.4, but using an industrial exercise. But the screenshot is from previous one, so it's a little bit kind of not up to date. Sorry about that. And then also in your live session, if you don't want to go to the demo session, if you want to go to the live session, we have a collaborative project with all the live sites, including the portal sites. So the project name is called 3CTN Member Resources New, and also there's a version 3 training modules for you to review. So we already developed more than 15 modules for the training, including the finance. So all the modules that you can click from 01 all the way, and then if you see any module you feel like you need some help, feel free to email Raisa, me, or James, three of us, or info box, that we can arrange a one-on-one to go over some of the modules and address your questions. And for finance module, because there are a lot of things to cover, so it is impossible to one by one to cover them. So some of the easy items that you should already know as a finance person, then it will be in the this module for the 11.1 to 11.3 for you to practice and also to find the answers there. But we will also go over some of them. So later on when we do the exercise, then we're going to give you the time. So for today's session, how we're going to arrange, because Edge Finance, it's a lot to cover, but we'll more focus on the how to set up this. So I'm going to go over the PowerPoint presentation. So it will be about 30 to 40 minutes. So once we finish that, then we'll go to then I'll go to the live session. Once we go to live session, so all of you should be at the time that you can download the exercise and then to follow along to do the exercise together. If you feel like I want to do it offline to do it myself, it's totally fine. If you want to do your own exercise, then email the question. So the last half an hour for those one, today's 10:30 to 12. So from 10:30 to 11:30 is the, I wish all of you can join at least for 1 hour for the core content. And then for the last half an hour for the exercise and also for the QA time, if you want to stay and then do the exercise, then I can address the questions to you, and also you can try the exercise. I try to make the exercise very simple because I already cleaned up the file for you. You only need to modify some of the items to try that out in the different projects. So let's get started for the true item here. So for the finance, for the Edge Finance, this is an overview picture that I used for a while. So the focus is the tracking and reconciliation, but the step 2 to 4 related to the tracking and reconciliation actually very straightforward. Whenever there is an item that finished, then you just put that item in and put the days in, and then you add a cost item to invoice as account receivable. And once you have received the paycheck, then you can review and edit the invoice to reconcile the payment. So regardless what kind of method that we're using, step 2 to 4, they are identical. So we're not going to spend a lot of time to talk about that, but of course we will show you. And then for the step 1, that's the part of how can we alternate the process. So there are quite a few ways to set up the cost item. When the sponsor give you a large spreadsheet so that you can set up in your system, any kind of CTMS system, those cost item for you to track later on. So a few ways that you can do it. You can set them up in the library or command management as a catalog there. Then you can apply to the projects that you're going to track the cost item. So method 1. Second method is the imported Excel template, which we're going to focus on a lot today for the importing method. So we imported those items, downloading the template from Edge, and then paste those items into the Excel file and then import into Edge so that you can have all the items set up there. Then once you have those items, then step 2 to 4, then you track them and you add the cost to them against those later steps. Or if you don't want to use any template, you feel like I just want to one by one to enter those cost items, is also totally fine. Or maybe there's some items that you forgot about it, that you then you missed the step at the time that you imported them, that you want to enter those individual cost items, then you can also manually enter those ones. So there are methods that can help you to be more efficient by using the library or using the Excel template for importing. That's step 1 that we're going to talk about today. And then, so for the cost items, of course, we will have some analysis to the item is how can we import them. For finance tracking, because we're not going to burden the staff to track a lot of things that feel like it's repetitive, then you need to have a mindset of what to track and who should be involved, and whether they are invoiceable items. And for those auto-driven by data submission to the sponsor CTMS system, do you need to send them another invoice, or do you want to track them? Or how can you track the item that they're missing? And what kind of invoice that you would be needed? Whether you want to track everything. So those are the things that in your mind, it's not like mandatory for you to track everything. So for those side direct costs or indirect costs, to think about which item that you want to track. If just labor costs, then it's a matter of like how can you calculate time so that the those time can be the cost can be reimbursed by the sponsor. And also the patient-related costs that they can check, and then but whether they will be auto-driven or whether they are standard of care that will not get paid, but you need to bill OHIP. So all these have become an analysis of cost item that you need to filter them and group them so that it will be easier for you to later to track them. So and another thing is that not just the finance, not just using the finance session. Don't forget you also had the forms. So in the management form, you can set up the template for your contract and also finance items. For example, for the research account name, there is an account name session in Edge for the finance. But in general, if there are multiple research account name there, you can put it into the form or you can put it in the finance session. And also the billing status in general, you want to know the general, not the specific, each of them. Then you can also have those one, whether you already started or in progress or completed. So all this can be in the form session. And then the progress note is if you have any notes for your finance person. And in item 4, so there's also some important items in your side agreement with the sponsor, such as the timing of the final payment. So you need to take a look at whether it is the study closure time that you're going to get the last payment. When is the last time that you're going to receive those payments? So those can be written down into the form so that when you run the report, then you can monitor those items. And then the payment method, so whether it's direct deposit and check in general and so on, so that when they arrive, then when you have too many projects, then too many trials, then you know that which one to track them easily. And the number 6 and number 7 are a little bit kind of like more calculation of your side costs and the true cost and also your funding. So this is based on all the financial items that you receive from the sponsor. Usually they send you the spreadsheet that later I'm going to show you that, say, for example, for a trial, they have 25 visits for a patient. Of course, ideally, if the patient is healthy enough or like able to tolerate all the visits, then they will be able to complete the 25 visits, all the treatments, all the checkup, and all the data. Then you get a full payment. But in reality, not all the patient can finish all of them. So do you have a kind of probability or percentage, or based on your experience, how much funding how many cycles actually a patient can finish for this type of trial? Then based on those and also based on how many patients you're going to recruit it, then you can have some kind of write it down, what is a per case funding in average? And then per case cost, even though the sponsor, you negotiate a lot of items, say, yeah, you need to reimburse and this and that and so on. But in reality, those are labor costs. If you have a staff to manage the multiple projects, for example, to manage 10 trials, so that's a staff time, but they are not like just like in one trial, then they only work a couple hours, then would not work for others. So what is your true cost to them? And what are the opportunity costs then? So those are the one are more financial analysis purposes. So it's not for that individuals. The usage of that one is that when you run the report for all of your projects, all of your trials, then you will get get a sense of totally how much funding you will get, how much cost that you will encounter, so that you know whether your site is running a deficit or not. So those are general items that doesn't have to be financial items, finance session, because the finance session is tracking for that project. And then also for those one that, so that you can reconcile the payment with the sponsor, the direct Excel file against that one. But this one is more your true cost and then true timing in the those contract items that you need to pay attention to. And then also the sponsor usually send you a kind of like the data collection schedule. Say this is just an example for a bit simple for only 6 cycles. So for the 6 visits and data collection methods. So sometimes that if you want to use as orientation file, so you can put down the data collection schedule in the project forms, like what kind of procedure, and then also any instruction for your staff to track. So those are not down to the participant, but it's in general that if you have that information, it will make the finance people later on much easier, because it's very hard for someone to hold on to a side agreement and also which item in all the time. So it's just make easier that if you want to put that into the session. And then for the just now I show you the data collection, and then the other way is that I mentioned about the ECRF form, the auto-driven. So if you already have the auto-driven, the sponsor is going to pay you all those fees. How can you track them without burden your staff? So one of the recommendation from our staff and also from the site experience that you could also create a participant forms. So in this participation form, you can create an entity based on those visits. For example, if there are 25, you can have visit 1 data collection. Rather than each individual procedure that you finish, you need to finish, you could just using the opposite way to do that. For example, which item has not finished. So that's the, for example, visit one outstanding task. And then then your staff can tell you that, yeah, this visit already finished, but this one have not done. This will be very useful later on when you reconcile the payment. When the sponsor don't pay you in full, then you can check whether it's because the holdback payment or whether because there's some outstanding tasks that your staff have not completed. So rather than one by one to compare them, you have your staff then look at the schedule, say, yeah, this one we don't have time, or something happened that they have not finished. Then you know what's going on. So with all this one, that with which one completed, which one outstanding, it will be very easy for you to create a so-called the data collection report. And then maybe go back here, and the data collection report, and also the outstanding task report. And you may feel like it's a lot of item to track. And then actually, I'm going to tell you the tips for in the version 3. So the tips of version 3 is that there are a lot of cloning option. So in the for the visit one data collection, you only need to create one. Then if you look at that little button there, it's very tiny. So in your management session, there's this like showing that, actually showing the two little square. So that is a clone option. For example, if your visit one completed, if you want to duplicate that one, you just click that one, then we'll duplicate that one for you. Then you can change it from visit 1 to visit 2. So this inside item that you can use that way to create a duplicate item, then modify them. And then the other option is that once you create visit 1, you can clone the item to create visit 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, and 8, and so on. So think about what is the max visits or cycles that you have. You can create those one in the library. So those are the one will make your life a little bit easier, that you don't need to one by one manually to enter. You only need to enter a group of them, then you clone it, keep cloning, and with some modification. So they're just additional tips to use the cloning feature and catalog to improve the efficiency. So this kind of cloning is also available for the workflow and for other parts, that if you pay attention to the management session. So just now I mentioned about the outstanding task. So once you have those participant outstanding task report, then you can use those one to compare when you finish your reconciliation, then you see, yeah, some items that are supposed to have a couple hundred here and there, then why is missing, then it's very easy for you to make the comparison. So those are the not in the finance tab, but also related to finance item. And then the other one is that use the appointment session. Most of you already have the hospital scheduling system, so you may not want to track all the appointment in Edge. But if there's some special item that you don't track in the hospital scheduling system or Outlook, then you can track it in Edge so that you can run the report. So a few examples here. So one is the unscheduled visit, the one that you need to run in order to create the invoiceable items. So you can ask your staff to go to use the appointment session to track those items, and then so that you can download the appointment session. Then you can use those one to import it into the session, and then to create the cost item. And then the other one, that the appointment reason, there are a few drop down here to think about which item that potentially you can use appointment session rather than the hospital system. So there are a couple items I can think of in addition to the unscheduled visits, such as the telephone follow-up. Do you usually use the hospital system to track those? If you have the telephone follow-up, then you can also put it here. Or if you really need to track your staff, that whether they already finished those ECF entry, then you can also create an ECF entry for those items that really you need them to complete it. Say, for example, visit 1 ECF need to finish in order to get the payment. So that could be your reminder to all of your staff. So those are more innovative way that you can use the session, and then the appointment reason doesn't need to be that kind of appointment, but could be the different reasons why you need to track it here. So, and also they can run a poll. And the nice thing about this is that even you already plan for that, but the participant may not attend those or may not even finish and show up for those ones. Say, for example, you make the telephone follow-up, but the participant, you do not get the answer and actually do not finish that one. Or if there are any kind of other scheduled visit that the participant do not attend, then you know that when you do not get that payment, you do not get the entry. So for that one, because the participant failed to show up. So those are just another one. So now let's talk about the example here. So as I mentioned that 11.1 and all the other overview that this the items, how to understand the finance session that you can find in other modules. But we are going to use then one example that a little bit more complicated than the academic one. They're using that one to walk you through for all the steps for how to finish one project. So this is the example. So it's already simplified and using a real trial, the budget, but I delete some of the items so that it can fit into the screen. So the case example here. So this table, the first table is the site level table, site level related costs. So this site level costs and that they are invoiceable. And then the other side here, the invoiceable procedures are also invoiceable procedures. So there are a couple of things that you can use the item. So you can call all this item invoiceable items. Then you group them all together. But the level of that one, so this one is more like the site level, 1 time or 2 times. For example, the screen failure, the 2 times if you want to track the site level, or you can track it in the participant level. For the chest rate, for the participant level, but they also then you need to invoice this if you need to invoice the sponsor to do it. So all this one depending how you group them. If you group them as an invoiceable item, as visits that the auto-driven, the one, then you can into just 2 files and then have the different levels and for those one. But if you want to separate them, all the startup, all the ethics, and all those procedures, then you can also separate them. So this is page 1. But for today's exercise, we'll put these 2 tables into one Excel file. And then the second one is the visits. So there are 25 visits for these trials, and then 25 visits. And as I mentioned, that each visit have the certain payment that the sponsor calculated with you with your staff time. For example, informed consent, how many minutes that your staff encountered, and based on the salary, the unit cost, and then based on the time all add up together with all those one, then visit 1 that they're going to pay you for the cost of $720 and $20.50, for example. And this one is without the overhead. So this payment that is all the items that completed that you get this amount of money, $720 and 50 cents. If any missing item, outstanding task not finished, then the sponsor may not pay you. If your staff do not finish that ECRF form for those one, then they may not pay you. So that's why using the data collection schedule that will help you to manage those outstanding tasks can help you to see which items are missing there. But of course, if you prefer to put it all into finance, that is also okay. But it just make it files that are very huge. Just for the purposes of the training, that I only keep about 10 items here. So rather than pages by pages of those items, and each of them, that regardless of how they calculate it together. So there are 2 kinds of calculation for the sponsor. One is that they're based on the staff time, how much they pay you for that procedure, or it's a direct pass-through cost that you need to pay. Let's say pay the lab or pay the DI department for those one that you need to pass through, and then also have some mean cost on the top of that. It depends on how you negotiate with them. So for the industry trial, usually they pay you more kind of generous. So it looks like if a patient can finish all those visits, that you almost get 20K out of that. But in reality, if this is a very difficult trial, very sick patient, they may only complete half of them. And then you need to look at the recruitment target. How can you survive with 5 participants and then have a staff dedicated to this project, or 0.5 to dedicate to this one? You still can't able to survive with this trial. So that's another consideration for you when you negotiate with the sponsors. Not today's topic, but it just said bear in mind all these variables are very important. So based on those 2 files that you receive from the sponsor, so the analysis that using the table is that on the site level that you have the startup and also the project management and all kind of procedures, and participant level, their drug costs and site management, consumables and patient reimbursement. And then type of them, some are standard of care, some are non-standard of care, some need to pass through, and some are not to pass through. Analysis code to that one is that you can group them based on how you work with those costs. Say, for example, if you need to pay your pharmacy department, so you could have the analysis code that related to core farm. I don't normally put 00 or put the number there now. In the past, I put a lot of numbering those one, but later on it becomes difficult to filter those costs. So all the one that relate to the pharmacy, then just farm, so that when you filter those reports, then you know that as a clinical trial unit, how much you pay your pharmacy, how much you pay the lab, and how much you pay the IEB and so on. So ETH and so on. If those ones are just your admin costs, say for example, you pay directly to pharmacy, lab, and ethics, and also DI, how much money that you pay them, those pass through. In addition to that, you also have your unit admin fee on the top of that. Then you single out those one as admin. Sometimes the sponsor also pay them separately. So it depends on how you want to filter those. A lot of time, the missing costs, the missing invoiceable item are the ethics related items, and also the unscheduled visits. So the ETH and also the ECRF form related to those items missing. The missing one that the one that you need to pay attention. And for the drug costs and also procedure, to just make it simple, called PC, patient costs, or participant costs. And for the patient reimbursement, that just as simple as APC, just as additional patient costs. So this analysis code, I do not create those code because I joined a different kind of training session. Then I realized the way that how some of the sites that use this simple code make it much easier than create a very long kind of serial number for those codings. And then other parts that you can you can further analysis. So then once you analyze them, then now you can go to the management section of the edge, and then go to management, and then go to the left side that's called finance. So in this finance section, then you need to first download the template. And this download the template the template is the same for all the trials. So you can keep a blank file. And so it's a CSV file. So I also create an Excel file for you. So because for some of the French side, if the CSV file may be messy, so you can download a file and save as Excel file. So if you are French side, you can talk to me and I can give you the Excel version, so that you can, when you convert it into the importable file, then become the semi-column way. Then once you finish, then you can upload. So there's some description and notes here that I'm going to explain in the next page. So when you download those pages, they're all kind of jumping together because they are a CSV file format. So I expanded to explain to you. So the notes are here. So when you download it, then you'll see the columns from A to L. So altogether from A to L. So the H project ID is the trials that which one that you want to import it. Your item. Say, for example, if it is MGEM trial, then you need to look up the Edge ID. So I'm going to show you where you can find Edge ID. So it's the project ID, Edge ID there from there at the project level. So if you put that Edge ID here, then when you import it, then we'll go directly to that project. And then the temporary name here that, so the temporary name that the name can be a visit name or a group of procedures. For example, you can the group of you can call cost funding tracking invoiceable procedure. Or if you prefer to have the visit one here, and then the cost category, the costs, oh, I think I put in the wrong column because I add this slide this morning. So it should be, the column H should be in the column F. So I accidentally copied to the wrong place. So in the cost item here, then, for example, for the visit one, if you have the chest rate, then you can put it there. So I'm going to correct that later on. So, and then for the temporary level, it can be project level, participant level, project site level. You need to use the identical spelling and the space, so no space between the project site. If you only have one site with in your organization, you can leave this blank. And then project arm, if you leave it blank, then it will be available for all the participants. But if your budget template is different from arm A and arm B, then you can put the arm information there. So site name, you can leave it blank and will be available for all the sites. And then the cost item, it can be a visit or a specific procedure. And I already explained analysis code. Just make it simple and easy. And then cost category, it could be the support costs and treatment costs and so on. And the default cost that I think today for some reason that could be that it moved, So this currency should be the other one. So should be the default cost is that do not enter the currency symbol here in the default cost. And then the currency here to put it in the item. So just ignore this page because I think when I maybe delete something, then it shift a column there. So in the exercise file, then you will see the Excel file that I already put some information there for you, to practice the importing. So in this file that for the invoiceable procedure, all the one related to participant, that you can have invoiceable procedure related to chest rate, skin biopsy, MRI, for example. Then so the temporary name will be invoiceable procedure. And for those visit, if it's just the high level visits, and so visit 1 to visit 5, then you can put the per subject cost, and then you have 25 visits here. So that's one way. Or if you feel like the clinical chemistry item is very important for each visit, then you could put the temporary name there, put the visit 1, and then single out some of the important procedure for the clinical chemistry there. You can use PC or you can ECIF and so on. So the file that I keep it to you is just that you can modify them. So the exercise that you're going to do is that you can modify to meet your needs. So the one that I have is just a kind of cleanup file so that at least has something for you to so that it's not a start from scratch blank template. And the category we'll put in the research cost. For the default cost here, so no symbol, just the number. So if the sponsor give you a file that with the symbol, then you can change the format into the general so that the symbol will be gone. And the currency could be CAD, Canadian dollar, or USA, or the UK pounds, and so on. And then the department, if you want to emphasize that it's a pharmacy or research office and so on, you put there. Overhead costs, it only have true and false. So true and false is just that whether this amount already including the overhead or not. So it's not a percentage, it is the true or false there. So if you have any question, just feel free to raise your hand and then I can address that anytime later, now or later. So once you have all the template clean up now ready to use that one, and then once you imported that item, that you will when you use the item, you will notice that why in this file that we have those items either temporary name or the cost category, because temporary name, it can be something else. So the temporary name so here there's a visit name when you track the item. Then it says that whether you want to use the temporary name as the visit name. So if you already had the visit 1 there in your temporary name, then then automatically will by default will give you that name. Or if you don't want to, then you can manually put the visit 1 there. So you can use the visit 1, 2, 3 there for that item. So continue to do to this exercise. So once you have this file, the cleanup and so on, then later on when you do the exercise, you download this file and then you can change the Edge ID into any trial that you have access in the live or in the demo system. Choose one for yourself and then import a temporary name there. You can put in the invoiceable site cost, or you can change it in to call something different. And temporary name is project site, and the analysis code if you want to change into something. So all these are the one that for you to make changes. So the one that I have, 6849, is a demo project. So if you do not make any changes to my file, then you will not see the differences of your importing and my importing, because Edge is very smart. If it is identical, then it would just overwritten the original one and just show the same. But if you have a tiny bit difference, say for example, if you put invoiceable site cost and then your name there, then it will create a group of the costs, but with the additional kind of like changes to that name. So then you can tell the differences that my template and your template. So the exercise for you is that you can modify them. So you can modify them overhead cost to is true or false. And so the other one is the site level cost. So so the two files for today. So the other file is the participant level. So participant level, that you can change that one, and then you can try it out to put the visit as a temporary name to see the difference. So those are all swappable. So you can change into from visit one, and then you put it into template name, then you put the procedure into cost item description. So it depends on how you want to use how to make it easier for you to track. So
Rebecca,
once you,
can I ask you a quick question?
Yeah, sure.
From that other sheet, so
Mhm.
does the cost that you put in, does that need to include the overhead amount, or does changing the overhead cost to true add the overhead percentage at a later time?
So this one doesn't include the percentage. You can create your percentage. What is that percentage? But this overhead cost is just telling your staff and telling your billing person this 130, whether already including the overhead cost or not. For example, if your site have 30% overhead, then this 130 already included or not included. So it's not the percentage.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah. So once you have that item in, then so all clean up, then you go to the management finance session, then there's a upload file. So the upload file, then once you click that button, then the next page will come up. So it tell you that you need to use a column delimiter. So for English version itself, then you use comma. If you're French version, then you use semicolon. So once you then there's a drop down for the two items for you to select. But by default it's comma, so the CSV file. So once you finish that one, then you choose the file or drag the file here. And then once you put that here, if there are any mistakes, and it will show you that which row have mistake. If it is successful, then it will say imported successful. Then it will go to that trials. So let's say this trial already successful, go to this project. So now this the one that we imported now is shown like this. So there are three items that we created. So one is the invoiceable procedure, invoiceable site cost, and per subject cost. So it will go to the project level under the template. So now it's kind of like small library within that trial. So later on you can apply to the site level cost when it happens, or in the participants when you have that procedure completed, then you can use that item. So this is called setup. So now you finish the setup. So once you finish the setup, so the step 2 is that you recorded the items. You recorded the actual. You ask your staff to tell you that when do they finish the item. So once say for example, once the staff finish, so once you your site already activate this trial, then it's time for you to collect the admin setup fee and also the IEB fee or pharmacy setup fee. So then if you click the cost in your site level, then you see the the temporary become the drop down. So the project level, you already have the invoiceable side cost. Once you put a select that item, then it give you that kind of drop box to the checkbox, which item you want to invoice them so that you can take them. So the next page here, then say, for example, if I put a check on the means setup, then we'll open up a few items that I take, then how much money by default from my template. And with that one, then you can also put the days that you finish and then the activity days. So once you put that in save, then that become a cost item that is receivable. And then the same way then for the participants, once you your staff already see the patient for the visit one or already have chest rate, ask them to go to the finance session and then to bring the item and then mark it or the day that they finish, then by default the number is already there. So then you can then you have all the items that recorded. So once you record it, that as a finance people then say, yeah, once a month or quarterly, now you want to create an invoice to send to the sponsor. So now you need to create an invoice. So for example, I create 2 invoices for this. So the invoice is just a number. So you first create a number, say for example, 3CTN demo 001. So this one inside is blank. And NACCY3 is blank, for example. So you only create that invoice. Once you create that invoice, now you can add those items in. So then you go to the, you click that invoice number, then it would, all the items that already had a cost associated, then it will show up to you that you can filter those ones. So you can select the items that to go to that invoice. Say, for example, here, mean setup, lab, and a visit one and chest rate. So all these items, if you check those, and then you can add to that invoice. So the idea behind is that you are not each time, you are not like build them whenever things happen, but you build them monthly or quarterly. That so for that invoice, then based on all the item already finished, then you create that one and then add those one to your invoice item 001, for example. So once you create that one, the items that now you have invoice and send to your sponsor. So and in another training session, so the user will start me to ask me, oh, how about I have a hospital system that can I not use the Edge to send the invoice? So yes, of course, you for each hospital you have your own invoice items, invoiceable kind of maybe the software. So this is just a create a report that as a supporting document for you. So it will not send an email directly, or it will not send an email directly to your finance people, or send to your hospital finance department and so on. So this is for you as a record, but you need to have that kind of report to send to them to bill your sponsor. So later on, I'm going to show you for the invoice report and also for the cost report that you can send to you, how you can download that one to as a supporting document. So once you create that invoice and so on, so now a check arrive in your office and then all you receive a payment in your bank account, or your finance asks you, hey, we receive a payment. I don't know what's that about. So then you review that item. Now you can see, then you can add the credit. So there is an add credit. So invoice will credit. So you can, add this credit. And then, so this is something that is from Pfizer 001, but you do not know what item is that about. So that you can check against that one. This item could be the 5,000 is the related to the mean setup, the startup. But if they don't have any kind of information, it will be hard to tell. But so that's the part about if you have all those detailed collection schedule of timing for the final payment, then you know that that amount is exactly related to that the holdback they have something, if they have anything, or if there are any outstanding tasks. So this way that you have the two table up, and so the upper table, upper window, and then the lower window that you can compare them. So once you compare them, then you can say, yeah, this is only partially paid. is not fully paid, then you can you can add your invoice and then to update the status to that one into partial pay. So once you have all those one, after you do a couple times and you feel like now it's too much, I need to have an overall kind of idea what's going on to that project. So now you can have two reports. One is a cost event report. So if you go to the finance report session and for annually, and then if you filter for this trial that you imported or you tracked, and so yeah, for the industry demo project, and then you run all the items related to that one, then we'll give you all the items that related to this trial, what kind of cost item or what kind of credit that you already received. So the cost event report will also include the credit one, the credit in this one. And then the next item is the invoice report. If you already sent out quite a few invoices out and then you do not know which one already reconciled, which one has not reconciled, then once you run the report, then you can see, yeah, you can see this one, what is the invoice number here? So this one is you receive this mama and the invoice total is this one is only partially paid. So if you have quite a few of those items and you know how many of them are partially paid, how many are already fully reconciled, then you can focus on those ones that not pay and then follow up your staff and follow up the sponsor and so on. So that's the invoice report that you can create, and then you can save, and then you can save those one, or you can save a template later on that you just load that report. So that's the finance report, and that with that example that we provided to you. So this is how I kind of show you the complete one from the PowerPoint. But if you feel like you need more practice, so in our exercise, I provide two more for you, simple one. So the two more for your homework is the academic one. So academic one, this is only for one level. For example, if you have a trial, just randomize for the site level and it's a milestone payment. So you can do that exercise by downloading the report and then to do the importing. So very simple exercise, not for today, but for later on. So just in case someone need to leave early, so I want to explain everything here so that you can practice later on. And the other one is that, for example, for pediatric group, that they have the COF funding that they track for the steps and per subject and so on. You can also download this one from the exercise folder, then you practice that one. So this is all the items I have, and then now let's go to the demo sessions to walk you through for the same thing here. So the demo system has compared to the live one has a demo stand, and also the website name has a CA demo and for this one. So I recommend you using my demo system because the template is there and then training files there, and also we can talk to each other easily there. Of course, each site can have your own demo system if you want to create your own. So once you log in here, so let me copy to the chat. If you just so that you don't need to look for the demo website. So this is a demo website. Usually the demo is one step faster than the live. For example, if there's something that need to be fixed, they will first release to the demo and release to the other beta session, then go to the live. And in this home session, there's a document that you can download the version 3 training file. So in this training files that you can see that from the mentioned about from 01 to let me see, I loaded I think 13 here. So I think there are a few missing there. I'm going to load it here. So we should have 16 modules, and then module 11 is the finance module. So if you successful login, please download all this, not just one, but all of those. If you click those one, then it will automatically just go to your download folder. So all this can go to your download folder. So now all this file downloaded there. So that's from the demo session. If you don't want to go to the demo system, you can go to the live system. So the live session, we also share this one, but it's under the project called 3CM Member Resources. And then from here, then you can go to the documents, and there is a version 3 training modules. So it's the same, but this one has a little bit more because I think I upload more and forgot the demo one. So there's it. So also here that there's module 11 that for today, you can download the PowerPoint, but there is a mistake that I have that I need to correct it. So later on that will tell you that that I will provide an updated version. And also the exercise can be downloaded from here. If you are unable to see that one, let me know. Sometimes the setting or it could be the access issues that you may not be able to see those, but you're supposed to be able to see this file that we share with you as the one of the training files that we have. Okay, so please raise your hands if you cannot find those training files and also the exercise. And Raisa can help you if you have difficulty in finding the file. And this is today's PDF file and also the PowerPoint version. So you can download those two files too. Okay, so now once you download this file, then let's review those files one by one. So once you download it, we'll go to your PC and go to the download session. And then the one that downloaded here, there's a blank one. So the blank one just now I mentioned about the blank one, I actually put into the wrong place. So this one is supposed to be cost item supposed to be here. It just got messed up. So the cost item are those one chest rate or cycle 1 day 1 or the visit 1 name, the name and so on that you could put it here. And then this one is supposed to be this one place. So these are the items that when you download it, will see here, and then you can save. This is Excel file you can save as a CSV file. But this is more just explanation. You don't have to, but it's just easy for you to, if you forgot how to use this template, then you can use this one as the instruction file for yourself. So this is one of the file called blank. It's just for viewing. And then let's go to the second one called industrial simple exercise. So this is the case for analysis. So the case here, this case I mentioned in our PowerPoint is that the first tab is the invoice both side cost, and they're more than this, but just for the simple way that for analysis, those procedures can be your cost items or can be your temporary name. And those costs, it has the CAD. But if you put your mouse there, then actually just because it's a currency. So if you change into the general format, then all the cost currency will be will have no symbol, will not have the CAD there, so that it will be easy for you to import it. Analysis code that you can put down, whether it's ADM or APC or ETH and so on, and what level you want to put those in. And the same is similar to this one, chest rate and so on. Those procedure, if you want to track them as PC or APC participant level, and whether you have the overhead or have no overhead. And the subject cost here, so this is a subject cost from visit 1 to 25. And this is the item that the total payment you're going to get for those items. But there's a formula inside. When the sponsor, if they provide you Excel file, sometimes if it comes with formula, then when you copy in, when you import it, then it will become all the weird symbols that were. So the easy way I will copy the same row and then paste as a value so that I have no symbols there. So with all those cleaned up here, so now you can copy, then you can copy those items into the blank template. Just just because it is training, so I just want to save all of you the time. So I already create 2 files. So what you need to do is that you only need to modify into the template that imported to the project that you want to import it. So based on this one, so the other 2 files are already created. So the 2 files are for importing. One is a site level file. One is called cost template industry site level. The other is participant level. So in diff, so let's click the first one, the site level. In the site level, so in the site level that is, I use the simple exercise and then to put, I just manually just put in invoiceable site cost and then copied all the items from the other file here into the cost item description, and also copy the analysis code, and also cost the default cost, and then put the CAD. And then overhead cost, I just put true as just for convenience for now. So once I create this one, then it becomes the file that for me to ready to import it. So now for you to do is that please change this project ID to get a different one. How can you get your own Edge ID? So let's go back to the demo file, to demo session. So if you go to your home, so the one I have is an industry trial finance session. So if I'm using this demo, so once I click that trial, the Edge ID here is 6A49. So if you want to, because all of you, I already copied the assignment to you, so you should be able to access at least for 8 projects. So if you go to the project, you can load it to all this file yourself and find one. How can you get the project ID? Say, for example, if you want to import this one into the first one, the AH27 medical, let's take a look at whether someone already did the exercise. So if you go to the project level and go to finance session, then you will see that right now here is blank, but where the template is how should be here, the template. The template here, then you can see like last 2 sessions and other people already do some exercise in using this trial. So they put so Tom Baker, so they put in the start cost and then they loaded the different file and so on to do the practice for the A, B, and so on. So maybe while we're here, just take a look at what they have done. So they put in the start cost and the cost item procedure have all the startup and the payment, the analysis code that they put in 001 SU. So could be their first invoice SU, something like that. So I don't know. They could use the invoiceable items that template name. And they also use the cycle 1 to put some details there. The cycle 1, the survey for that one. So it all varies that how they want to do it. So like ECG and so on. So those are just one. Before you do the importing, you can just take a look at what other people already put that into the template. If someone already imported, of course, for your site will not happen because this is a demo system. You could see other people's template. But in your live system, you only see your own that usually is blank. But when you before you start, it's blank. No one else should already import something. But in the demo system, because it's sandbox, other people may already enter this for you. So you can choose something that no one already used that one. So this is AHS27. So so where you can see the ID, so this is the ID is called 6937. So you could choose this one, or you could choose the next one. So the next one, this one is 6936, or you create your own. So this one that if you go to the finance session and go to the template, somebody already imported this one as exercise. So if I want to delete that one, then I can just delete that one. Keep that in mind because this is sandbox. Other people can just delete your file, so on. So say for example, it's me that are deleting this one because I can load it later on for this. So once you delete that one, then you can choose this one as your, then you can choose 6936 as the HID. So this is where you can find the HID so that you know which one to import it to. So if this file is perfect, and now you want to import it, then you can import it there. So let me take a look at 649XA49, just in case somebody already imported. So let's take a look at the 6A49 and then go to the finance and go to the template. So I see quite a lot of people already do the importing. Could be someone from this group that are very fast, and I can do it myself. Again, then you will see that how to make it something different. So if you don't mind me delete that one, or so that we can see the difference, or maybe I would just modify the name. So I'm going to just put in my name there, so that you will know that it's me. So you can also do that. So I will just put in my name there so that when we import it, I know that who has done this one. If you want to load to the same file. So if you're going to use 6A49, just put your name beside the template name. So let me just save this one. So now let's do the importing. Go to the management section and go to the finance. And then it's this one, import templates. Because we already download the template, now we only need to upload. And then I mentioned about the semicolon or even the pipe for different languages, I guess. So now let's choose this file from the download session and then the site level here. So now it says import successful. So it looks perfect, but usually it's not perfect. Usually is that when you do something, there will be some issues there. Sometimes you forgot, there's some blanks, and then you accidentally put something in the blank space and so on, ask you to clean up or here and there. So it would tell you that what's wrong with your template so that you need to fix before the load again. So now it is successful. So let me see where it goes. So now I can go to that project, that 6A49. So this is 6A49. So I can go to the session that I created. So now you can see my name there. Rebecca loaded this one. So all these items that I imported into this part. So once I import it here, then I have this item. So I also want to import the subject cost. So let me just do one more before we record it. So I go to the second one. So there's a raised hand, Michelle. Yep, go ahead.
Hi, Rebecca. So I had a quick question. I noticed that you're working or you're doing these downloads and uploads at the project level.
Yeah.
Can you also do this at the project site level, or is there a difference?
So the importing will be at the project level, but it will become the dropdown for the project site and participant. So it's not like when you load it at a project, then those finance costs is at the project site level. If you look at the level, you see.
Okay. So if it's at the project level, you mentioned earlier, so other sites should not be able to see it, even though it's at the project level.
Yep.
Oh,
yep.
okay.
No one can see it because that's yourself. Patient and finance are not shareable. They're not collaboration. Even you have a collaboration, no one can see your patient. No one can see your finance template.
Got it.
They're not collaboration. So
thank you.
Even you put that into the project level, and then this one, say for example, this item that if you go to the site and then let's say JCC here. So in the finance session, then the drop down, if you click the add the drop down, so all the drop down, so that's Rebecca here. So you don't need to load it to project site level because all the participant and project site, project level, they all go to the project level as an overarching one. But then it kind of like which side you want to add it to, which participant you want to add it to, and so on. It just is going there, but it doesn't mean that only stay at the project level. If you don't have project level, And if your template level says a project site, then will only show up at the project site level. And also they are not shared with other organizations.
Thank you so much for that clarification. That's really helpful.
Yeah, no problem. And then for the participant, template, so let's open up this one. So as I mentioned, that is, again is a 6A49. And then this one have an invoiceable procedure and also per subject cost here. So, and then so if I open up a little bit, so if I want to just, you can just also put your name there so that we know that who has done this exercise. If I put in this one, and also subject cost that I put it in. So let me see here. So I put the per subject cost with my name on it. But I also mentioned about cost item and the template name you can swap them. If I have all those ones that have some items that are very special, say for example, visit one is always something special. So visit one, so I can put in the visit one, and then I can put in cycle one, day one, and then I have all these procedures that need to get done in my visit one. I also want to single out those items. Is that okay? Yes, it is okay for a few important procedures that need to do in the certain visits that if you want to put them here. So, and then the other are the same here. But the cost for those one that is different. So I'm going to copy them here. So I accidentally put a 556 here. If I have that, then when I upload it, then there's some blanks here that would tell me that something wrong with my file because I don't have the ID, I don't have those one. So that's why I need to, before I save them, I need to clean up the file, just make sure there's no blank there. So once I create this one, I think I need to change that one to and all again that I just in case you use the same method, so I would also put in my name there so that it would look different from the file you have. Okay, so now let me save this one and then to upload this one. So let me just change this one into Rebecca. So this is a CSV file, then I save this one. Now I'm going to upload this file to the system. So now if I go again to the project and go to the finance and then go to the import template and again to upload this file, and then I will choose Rebecca here and open. So now it goes to the project. So let me see how it goes. So now in the project level here, then I have the finance. So in the finance section, the template is the one that I just imported. So now you can see Rebecca in the invoiceable procedure. And also those, if you notice that I single out one item called visit one, cycle one, day one, and also the per subject cost. So let's take a look at the inside item. So that now in my cycle one and day one had chest ray, dermatologist, and also skin biopsy. And in my per subject cost here that I have visit one all the way to 25. So I have all these items. So once I have all the items, then now I can start to do this. My second step is to apply to them. So because most of the items that are either project level or the participant level. So now I can go to the site. So let me just use Javinsky as example. Maybe using different site. Let me try the London. And then maybe add myself here first. So I have, yeah, now let me go to the finance here. So I'm in the London session, and then I can add the one that template. Template means that the project level, that template that I loaded. If I add a template, once I click that become a drop down. So the drop down, the project site level, at the project site level, I have this one. Then I can click the one that if my site already activated, I can click admin setup. And then where's my initial review and the lab startup? And then what else can be the first time, the initial and so on. So let's see just 2 items that, 3 items here. So the event day, let's say is last month that we already have this try activated. Then if there's account name, I can put it here. So then I can build them. So I save this item. So now I have these 3 items become the already come with a day. So I also want to go to the participant level because there's no patient. Let me make sure. Let me just make sure I can also see the clinical to have the participant. One thing is interesting to mention to you is that in the version 3, if someone don't have the management option, if the staff don't have the management access, they won't be able to see the finance tab, and they won't be able to see the participant tab. So once I put the management tab and then the clinical, I can see the finance tab and I can also see the participant. But because there's no participant, let me just add randomly. Maybe let me go to, just to save everyone's time, I go to the Hamilton because I have some participant there. So I go to the participant and then let me just use this second patient. So now in the second patient, in the finance tab, again, I can use the add the temporary name, then the drop down. So I can see a lot of drop down here. I can track the cycle 1, day 1, or I can track the procedures, or I can track the non-standard of care from the library and the per subject cost and so on. So let me just using the cycle 1, day 1 here. So then because my temporary name is called visit 1, cycle 1, day 1. So by default, it says whether I want to call this visit name is visit 1 and cycle 1. I say, yeah, I want to also using that one, but I don't need Rebecca there, for example, and then I can remove it. And then event day is today, for example, if all this procedure finished today, then you can put it all one day. If you want one by one, they're different day, you put in different day, then I save. So now you have those items. So the next step is to create an invoice. So create an invoice is not at a participant level, it's not at a project site level. You need to go back to the project level. Go back to the project level and go to the finance, and then the second tab is invoice. Yep, Michelle.
Quick question regarding the participant level.
Mhm.
I didn't see, but was that under the participant ID? So does it
Yeah.
generate
The ID? Yeah.
yeah, the ID on who the patient was in addition to the visit? Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So when we run the report, you will see that. Yeah, that's a very good question. So you will be able to see that. So if you go to the project level here, and then now in the finance tab and go to invoice, let's create an invoice first. So let me just create an invoice number. So the invoice number, let's call it, so it's 202, so today is 01, let me see, 1, let's just use today as an invoice number. And the research department have the invoice. So we just raised today. So let me just put it here. Today, I'm going to raise an invoice. So I only create the item, but that's create invoice, but nothing inside. So now I need to add some item into this invoice. So once I click, so if you see that it's blue, then you move your mouse and it become a hand. Then once you click that, now you can add the cost. So the cost that all the one that happening, the one that already from London, from Hamilton, blah, all those side, then you can select the items. So you can select all, or you can select the item that you want to build them this month. So let's say if you want to select all of them, and then you set add all the filter costs. And so once you click that one and then add the selected cost, 9 of them inside, then you already add those. Once you select those all, then now it will all, now if you go back to the invoice, okay, let me see. So let me, oh, I need to click that one. So let's see. So now in this invoice, then you can see all the 9 items that was already inside this this invoice. So it says invoice here, and then he have all this, and then have whether there's overhead or not. So this is simple way to see it. And then now if you receive a deposit from the sponsor, now you can there's a little arrow there. Once you click that one, now you can add the credit inside. So now you can add, if the Pfizer send you a kind of like money, or like, see, let me just using 001 here, and then if you receive $2,000, and then you receive today, you can add another one with that one, or if you only have one item, let's just do one item here. So now you can see, if you click that one, then you can see there's 001, the $2,000 comes to this invoice. So once you have those invoice and those items so now you can continue next month and so on. And now you want to, if you want to run the report, so now go to the report and go to the finance. So now this is how I address your question, Michelle, for the ID that will show up in the report. So now you can run the report as a cost event. So because this is currently, so annually you can do annual report here. So run, if you click the run here, then you can see that the participant ID here. So the participant ID has all the which ID and then which randomizations or which subject ID related to that subject cost. But if you only want to look at the trials that you loaded, I only want to see the industrial finance demo, that one, then close. And then if you run, so all the items that you can see from here. And if you drag this bar to the right, you can see the local ID, all those common department, and then if you have additional number, and then you can download them as Excel file. And you can also save as, so you can save as, or put the name there. You can just say demo costs. Let's just do that. So once you save next time, then you can just go to the load, and then you can load out items. So that's cost event. If you want to run a report for all the invoice, so you can go to run a report, and for annually, then you can run the how many invoice you already raised this year. So here there are 9 invoices raised this year. But if right now you only have 9, it's easy to identify the one that you finish. But if you only want to check how many invoice you already sent to that related project, then you can filter that project and run. So now you can see only 1 invoice have raised to this one. So that's the invoice report that you can. Okay, Michelle, question for your question.
Yes, sorry, me again. So my question relates to invoicing with respect to if you send out, I guess more for the admin costs or even the patient level costs, I suppose. So my question is on the at the project levels, project level or the project site level or participant level, is Edge smart in that if I say I invoiced for startup, am I only able to do that once, or can I do that more than once? And the reason why I ask is because I don't want the ability to be able to select startup cost if it's a one-time cost.
Yeah, you can select multiple times. It's not like forms is it's multiple times. So for example, if you go to finance, because it's in a temporary, we already use that item, say the startup, I can select again. See, I can select again.
Oh, you can. So it doesn't remember that you've previously invoiced it.
Yeah, but because in your invoice, when you run the report, then if you see the identical item, then you know that you do to try. So it's very easy for you to see the identical stuff here. You see what I mean?
So finance, so technically we should run a report first when we're doing like a subsequent invoice. So we should
No,
look at
you
the
don't. I
report.
think you want say, let's say just using London here as example, because I already cleaned up the JCC one. So in say, for example, you already entered those one for those cost item. Let's say you already, but your staff forgot it, and then they add another one, and then you add another one here.
Sure.
So now it's just showing right away that identity. So next to each other is the same, right?
Okay.
So you don't need to go to the report, and then you already know that this item is repeat.
Got it. Okay. I guess I'm thinking, yeah, for the one-time costs at the site level, those are pretty straightforward. It's more for the participant where, it can get a little confusing when there's a lot of invoiceable items at the participant level.
Yeah, I see what you mean. So if you go to the, let's say, if you go, let's go to this part, and then so chest rate, you already invoiced them. So for this part, if this let me see, am I in the participant level? Yeah, sorry. If I have the chest rate already for this one,
Okay.
and you already had a visit on day one. So when your staff try to enter a one, then immediately this item is already there. So let's say it's identical, you do the chest ray again. So if you do the chest ray again, and then you also do this one again, and then you do today, so then it will also show up visit one, cycle one, and then chest ray two identical. So it's of course, ideal situation, I see what you mean, is that when you just like when you enter a project, we say somebody if it give you a warning, somebody already entered, don't waste your time to do it again. That will be ideal situation.
Okay.
But the not so nice for this one is that you can add another one, but because it's the chest rate, the same item, and also visit name, you're using a templated cost, and when it's identical, then when you run the report, then it will show the duplicate, and also immediately that in the same section that will show all the duplicates to that one. And then when you check those items into the invoice, then it's very easy. Maybe for me, it's just that I feel like it's quite easy to, if you look at the invoice here, because when you add the cost here, if you see two items are identical in those parts, that let's say clinical chemistry, they're identical, but the visit name is different, visit one and visit two, then you say, those two are not identical. So I think the reason why it allow you to duplicate it is just that just to avoid you then need to repeat all those items, because you can change the visit name. The chest rate they may need to do 2 or 3 times, but it's a different visit. So as long as there's a different visit, then it would tell the differences of those. Then you can still use those items. If you limit that one, then it's which one to identical and so on. So there's still some kind of mental work to need to do this, and it's not kind of that smart.
Okay, I'm sure the way that it's designed works well in real time, because I want to use this for a legacy study. So I want to put in some legacy data. So thank you for answering my question. That was helpful.
Yeah, okay, no problem. So now we walked you through all this one. So if you had a chance to, I can delete all those items from here, then you can also do the same exercise, but with your name there. So other than invoice for procedure, you can put a underscore and then put your name there. And you're using the exercise file, and then to try that in the industrial finance demo project. Yeah. Yeah, Amy typing something. Are you able to talk, or you don't have a microphone?
Hi, Rebecca.
Yep.
Amy. I was just gonna say thank you. for the
Okay,
presentation.
no problem.
I need to leave now, but thank you for everything.
Oh, you're welcome. So, maybe Reza, can you stop the recording? I think those are the items. So now I will stay to just